Boys have the darndest way of growing up, Belle. Almost when you're not looking.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the channel. If this is your first time, it's a monthly wrap-up video. So if you are new to the channel, you'll get a sense of what I read in general. It's quite a mix actually this month. But if you are a regular viewer or a friend, then thank you so much as well for tuning in. Monthly wrap-up, this is September 2025. And I thought it was going to be a funny month because it's always rough for me, September, because it's a start term and it gets really, really hectic. And there's always loads of admin to do as well as loads of sorting out to do. I have to balance classes and stuff, and it's all very hectic. And meeting the new students, blah, 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 blah. So I often read less in September than I do in other months. But I'm actually quite pleased with the amount I've read. I read quite a lot, really. So yeah, it'd be nice to talk about that on this video. First thing I want to do though, because we found out the tragic news that the incredible conservationist and primatologist Jane Goodall died yesterday. So I wanted to talk about In the Shadow of Man. If you haven't read this book, I urge you to read this book. It's the most amazing book, and she was an amazing woman. So rest in peace, Jane Goodall. You've influenced the world in such a profound way, and you taught me a lot, and you were one of the first people, possibly the first person, to get me thinking about the minds and the culture and the lifestyle of the chimpanzees, and about their right to have rights. So yeah, In the Shadow of Man, most amazing woman, Jane Goodall. Also, before I talk about this month's reads, I need to talk about this. So this is Star Smashers of the Galaxy Rangers. What an awesome cover. And I forgot to talk about this in my last monthly roundup. And it was a big feature of my month last month because I did a video on it as well. But I took the video down. It was one of those rare occurrences where I did a video review and then I watched it again the next day, and I didn't like it. I didn't like the video, so I took it off. I was like, oh, I don't like that. It felt a bit repetitive, and I thought don't think I really added much. So yeah, it's an interesting book. I'm a fan of Harry Harrison, so it was important for me to read it. And I had read it before, to be fair, but so long ago I'd forgotten. And what I was kind of saying in that video, which I think is a really interesting point to make, is that if you read this straight, you would think it was terrible and the writing was terrible, because it's a parody of a particular kind of space opera science fiction that happened in the early days of science fiction. And it's a parody. Because it's a parody, there are outlandish things that happen. There are very two-dimensional, cliched, badly drawn characters in it, and ludicrous plots, and you know, the sexism of the time. You know, it's a parody that works if you know it's a parody. If you don't know it's a parody, you might read it just thinking, "Guys, this is awful." So I think that was kind of what I was saying in the video. So thank you to the people that did watch it and comment on it. And I do feel guilty sometimes if I take something off or I have to replace something because of a mistake and someone's already made a comment. So that has happened before, and it happened in that case. So yeah, Star Smashers of the Galaxy Rangers, a parody of early space opera. Okay, and I will be discussing that book actually with Gavin from Genre Books, because that's one of the books that he's chosen for the 100 science fiction, like the centenary of science fiction celebration he's doing over the next year. So there will be something from me and Gavin about that. So what did I read? Okay, the first thing I read in the month was this fantastic collection of interviews with Ray Bradbury. So Ray Bradbury is going to feature a couple of times in this video, but this was a lovely present I got from Dave from Book Blather for my birthday, when I met him on my birthday, which was obviously, if you know my channel, you've seen the clips. It was the most amazing thing when I met Dave and Joe, and on my birthday, he gave me quite a lot of books actually, and this was the one that was all wrapped up, and it was awesome. So yeah, it's a really good book. So I read a similar one, Bradbury Speaks, maybe. I think it's called Bradbury Speaks, and it wasn't as good as this. This was so good. So the questions that were being given to him by Sam Weller were really good. Sorry, Weller were really good questions, and the responses from Ray Bradbury were really good. So this is I definitely recommend this. Listen to the Echoes, the Ray Bradbury interviews. Really, really good book. And then I read Kingdom Come. So this is a very famous graphic novel by Mark Waid and Alex Ross. It gets talked about a lot. So when I saw this, quite cheap, I snapped it up in London, actually, in Scoob Books. And I was keen to read it. I enjoyed it, but there's going to be a little bit of a thread from now on in this video how I enjoyed it, but it was kind of just more interesting than really, really, really enjoyable. So I didn't love it, but it was interesting. This is set in a particularly dark version of the DC superhero world where metahumans have developed into this new breed of metahumans where they're more violent and vengeful, and the main DC characters, Superman, Wonder Woman and Batman, aren't very happy about it. Superman's retired, Wonder Woman's exiled, and Batman has started this new thing with the group that he calls the Outsiders, and they're basically separate, and they haven't spoken to each other for years. And these new metahumans are causing trouble, and there's a reason why they have to get back together again to kind of deal with the situation. It's quite apocalyptic, and it's a big scale thing, and it's quite a nice concept, and it's a good plot. But some things I didn't understand, like some of the images I didn't understand. So the artwork is really good, but it's also quite vague sometimes. So it looks really good, but sometimes I didn't know who the characters were. And what was happening, so that put me off a little bit. But yeah, it was interesting. It was good, and I did enjoy it, but I didn't love it. I'm trying to think of an example. Will I be able to find an example? Sometimes the characters just looked really similar. It's just, I think that's one of the things here. I mean, that's Batman, but then he could have been the Green Arrow. He could have been, I think Peacemaker's in there at one point. I didn't even notice he was in it. But yeah, so I did enjoy it, and it's very large scale, interesting concept, but I didn't love it. Then I read a very small pamphlet, which was a really interesting read. Again, it's Shorty September, so shout out to the Shorty September event. I'll link the host below, and it's a great concept, and that was kind of dominating my radar for this month as well, for September. I was looking at shorter books, and this is very short. This is like 50 pages, and funnily enough, I bought this in New Orleans thinking, oh, this is unusual, but it's actually got a pound price on the back, so clearly it's a British publication. But it was still only $7 in New Orleans. But this is about the way that historically women have been treated differently to men with regard to medicine and their status, and always sort of subjugated to men's decisions, although women have made such a huge part of the history of medicine as midwives or as healers. And obviously the witch hunts and all that sort of stuff is discussed. So it's a very interesting pamphlet. I would say that there's a general sense when I was reading it that I found it interesting, but I also read like a dissertation from a student, like an undergraduate student. There was something about it that felt like it was a young voice, and it felt a little bit like a dissertation. So that's not a heavy criticism, because sometimes dissertations are great. The one I wrote was good. but yeah, there was that sense that it felt like a university project that had been turned into a book. So it'd be interesting to know if that's actually the case. Okay, so the next thing I read was something I've been meaning to read for ages, and that was H. Beam Piper's Fuzzy Sapiens. So I absolutely love Little Fuzzy. I really love that book. And I know what's it called? The Fuzzy World or something, the John Scalzi remake. But no, Little Fuzzy, the original book, is really good. Definitely recommend it. H. Beam Piper kind of writes a story about a planet that's been mined because they think there's no sentient life on it, and then they discover these kind of Ewok kind of creatures on there. And this book kind of follows on from the first one, and it's more about the legalities of how they get incorporated into the culture and life of the humans that are there. And it's a bit drier. I didn't like it as much. I thought it was an interesting sequel, but it was a little bit more hard work. A little bit. It wasn't bad, but I really like Little Fuzzy, the original. So yeah, this was just good. But it was good. It was good. Good praise. It was good, but it wasn't brilliant. And then I moved on from that to another, finishing off from last month, this was another short book. These are short vignettes. They're little small fables by Hiromi Kawakami, who I rave about on the channel a lot. I really like what she does. And these are all kind of like animal-based, very short stories about characters that interact with either kind of animal spirits, or they get transformed because they have got an animalistic element to them. It's kind of, yeah, it was fun. I liked it, but not one of my favorite Kawakami books. But worth a read if you like what she does. It's worth a read, and I do like it when she gets all fantastical. She's very good at doing sort of verisimilitude as well as sort of fantastical things. She's good at she's just good at writing. She's just a really good writer. So yeah, it was good, interesting, not brilliant. And we got another one like that as well. So this is Terry Southern's The Magic Christian, another one I read for September. You can see that my writing was quite good considering I was so busy and so stressed, and it was such a horrible month in some ways. Terry Southern. So Terry Southern is probably most famous for co-writing the script for Dr. Strangelove, but he did write this book, and this was turned into a film as well with Peter Sellers and Ringo Starr as the main characters, which I saw when I was younger, and I was keen to read this. I saw it secondhand. I thought, I'll grab this because it'd be good to read it. And it's kind of a parody, satire on capitalism and an American billionaire throwing his money away, kind of seeing what would happen if he collected tons and tons and tons of manure and put money in it, and see how many people, poor people, would grab the money and get all excited about this money. And he kind of reveled in his own wealth and sort of mocked poor people through the book. So yeah, it's interesting. It's a good comment on capitalism, but it wasn't brilliant. It was interesting and a bit of fun, and a very easy read. If you're intrigued, you might love it. It's an interesting read, and Terry Southern's got a very likable way of writing that works really well in the book. So yeah, I was keen to rewatch the film again. I seem to remember Graham Chapman and John Cleese make a cameo appearance in an antique scene, I think. But yeah, Terry Southern's The Magic Christian. And then a big part of my month was buddy reading Dandelion Wine. So this is another part of my Ray Bradbury deep dive. I've already put up the video where I talked about this book, and I buddy read this with Sherry from Books, Radios and Plays, and Dave from Book Blather. Dave's got to catch up with this because he sidetracked into another book, which I'll talk about in a minute. But I was talking very regularly with Sherry about it, and I was a bit disappointed. But so again, this was another one that I read when I was a lot younger, and I'd forgotten all about it, and read it again. And I know why I forgot all about it, because it's beautifully written. Ray Bradbury is such a master of prose. It's beautifully written, but not a lot happens. And the things that do happen, there's a very like almost a flat line of tension. There's not a little bump of tension now and again, very small bump of tension, but it's very much steeped in heavy, gentle nostalgia. Nostalgia is the thing, and he does write very evocatively and vividly about his childhood and growing up in Greentown, which is a fictionalized version of where he grew up. And all these different things he references in this book is about his childhood and how much he misses it, values it, wants to celebrate it, and wants to share it with people who may relate to it as well. So my childhood isn't the same as this, so that could be part of the distancing. But it's definitely not one of my favourite books, but it was beautifully written. And I know there are some people who it is, who would say it is one of their favourite Ray Bradbury books, or their favourite Ray Bradbury book. But yeah, for me, it was interesting, but not brilliant. And then I am still reading this. I haven't finished this yet, so I'll say something more concrete about this short story collection once I've finished it. But I like Sayaka Murata a lot. And it's completely mad, but yeah, really interesting book. So that was really good. There's a couple of things that I haven't finished that I'm still reading. So I haven't finished this, and I'm reading this very slowly because I'm not really loving it. So maybe it'll pick up as I go along, because I haven't read that much of it. I've only read, can you see that? I've only read that much, which is not a lot. Yeah, we'll see. It might get interesting, but I'm doing this Vote for the King thing where you guys decide which next Stephen King book I read from the ones I hold up. This is the second version of this. The first one was The Long Walk, which I loved, but this was what you chose for the second one. And yeah, it's fine. It's okay, but I'm reading it slowly because I'm not like dying to get back into it. So Eyes of the Dragon is floating about. This one I started, but I think because I'm reading lots of things, I'm going to put this to the side for a while. I'm not DNFing it. I'm just going to find another time to read it. So that's something that I started. I didn't get very far with it, and I think I'll like it, but I don't think I can read it now. But Donna Tartt's Secret History is going to be read properly soon. So a couple of things that I wanted to mention. So I did say that Dave was distracted to read something else, and that was The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which I'm really pleased to know that he really liked. It was our 42nd edition of Is This Thing On? So I thought it'd be nice to celebrate it by talking about Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So I made a book tag about it, which has been received really well, which is lovely, and people are doing it. So please do the tag if you are curious or you want to do it, because it's a lot of fun. And it was nice to talk about the book on the live stream. So we had Gavin and Jack from Spread Book Joy on the show talking about the book and talking about the films. It was a really good live stream where we talked about everything, really. We talked about lots of things, and there was a big political discussion at the end, but we did talk about Hitchhikers for a fair bit, and it was really fun to do that. So I love this book very much, and what I was thinking of doing is reading it again. Not yet, but reading it again soon, and then talking about my favourite aspects of the book. That'd be nice. But in the meantime, it was nice to celebrate the 42nd episode 42 of This Thing On, by talking about Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Okay, so moving forward, so we're in October now, and there's a few things happening. So I did say a couple of times I was going to read this, so I am going to read this. But this is going to be juggling with other things, because it is Occult Detective October, which I will be nipping into, but probably with the Rivers of London series. And I haven't got it with me because I've got it in my bag, but I am currently reading Project Hail Mary with a few people, and we're I think they're ahead of me, so I might not be in the first discussion, but yeah, I'm loving getting back into that. So I'll talk about that another time. But Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir is what I'm reading at the moment as well, at the start of October. So there we are. Please comment below on any of that stuff that you'd like to comment on. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for all the support. And I really appreciate it. I love doing this, and it's good fun. So stay curious, everybody. Picture of what it's like to